Ever wish you could just like download knowledge straight into your brain?
Like in The Matrix?
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
But we can't quite do that yet.
Right.
But this deep dive into Special Counsel Jack Smith's final report is kind of the next best thing.
Hmm.
It's this really dense and complex legal document, but it details this unprecedented investigation into a former president, and you just received it marked top secret.
Oh, wow.
Pretty intriguing, right?
Definitely.
And that's where mindful moments comes in.
Yeah.
Think of it as your secret weapon for like navigating all this complex information.
Right.
You get all the key insights without having to like wade through every single detail.
Uh-huh.
And you can do it on the go.
Perfect.
Plus, with our AI narration, you can listen and learn anytime, anywhere.
Really convenient.
So today we're going to decode the first volume of this report,
Okay.
the one focusing on Donald Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. We're cutting through all the legalese to give you the clearest understanding of what Smith investigated, what he concluded, and what it all means for the country.
Sounds good.
One of the report's central themes is Trump's state of mind.
Yeah, his mindset.
Did he actually believe his own claims about election fraud, or was there something else going on?
That's the big question.
The report dives deep into that question,
Okay.
analyzing conversations, reactions, even pre-election discussions.
Interesting.
And it paints a picture that totally contradicts Trump's public statements.
Really?
For instance, the report talks about conversations with top officials, including the vice president, who debunked those fraud claims directly to Trump.
So he was being told point blank that there was no widespread fraud.
Exactly. And what's interesting is how he reacted.
Yeah, so how did he respond?
Well, despite those assurances, he continued to insist publicly that the election was stolen.
Wow.
He even went as far as to discuss declaring victory before the election even happened.
Like, regardless of the actual results?
Yeah.
That's a little unsettling. It kind of suggests that there was a deliberate strategy to create doubt about the election.
Absolutely. And that's just the beginning.
Oh, there's more.
The report also unravels this whole intricate scheme to assemble alternate slates of electors in key states.
Ah, the fraudulent elector plan.
Right. Was this just some fringe idea, or were people aware that it was illegal?
Well, it seems like there was a mix of motives and awareness. Some individuals were deeply involved in the deception, while others seemed to be kept in the dark.
Okay.
There's even a story about one potential elector in Pennsylvania who backed out.
Really?
Yeah, he called the plan an attempt to overthrow the government.
Wow, that's a pretty serious accusation.
It is, and it shows how seriously some people took this.
Definitely, the report goes on to describe this intense pressure campaign on Vice President Pence to reject electoral votes.
Oh, yeah, that was a big part of it.
And Trump's efforts went beyond just suggestions. He used threats and even appealed to Pence's loyalty.
It's kind of scary how far he was willing to go.
It is, and it directly connects to those events on January 6th and those chants of hang Mike Pence.
Right, those were chilling moments.
Absolutely. The report puts those events into context,
Okay.
showing how Trump's rhetoric and actions really fueled the violence.
So the report really sets the stage for January 6th.
It does. But what about Trump's actions on that day itself?
Yeah. What does the report say about that?
Well, it contrasts his inflammatory speech where he directed supporters to the Capitol with his delayed response to calls for him to stop the violence.
So he was riling people up, but then didn't do much to calm things down?
Exactly. And he even dismissed Pence's evacuation with, "So what?"
That's just cold.
Yeah, it really shows a lack of concern for everyone's safety.
So after all that evidence, what charges did Smith decide to pursue?
He charged Trump with conspiracy to defraud the United States and obstruction of an official proceeding.
Those are serious charges.
They are, and the report explains in detail how Trump's actions met the legal requirements for each crime.
But I imagine it wasn't easy for Smith's team to get to that point.
Not at all. They faced a ton of legal challenges and obstacles throughout the investigation.
Give us an example.
Well, imagine trying to access a crucial phone call between Trump and a key witness,
Okay.
but then being blocked because Trump claims it's protected by executive privilege.
Oh, wow.
That was just one of the many legal battles they had to fight.
That must have been incredibly frustrating.
It felt like they were constantly running into roadblocks.
What were some of the other big challenges they faced?
The fight to get Trump's Twitter data was really contentious.
It's interesting how important those online communications were to the case.
It is. It's like those tweets were pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, and Pence's claim of protection under the speech or debate clause was another hurdle.
All these legal intricacies make the report sound like a real-life thriller.
It's definitely not your typical dry legal document.
Yeah, we've uncovered a lot of shocking stuff already.
We have, but we've only just scratched the surface. Oh, and we can't forget about the witness intimidation.
Right, that was a big part of it, too.
The report really highlights the threats and harassment people faced just for cooperating with the investigation.
Yeah, it's a reminder that speaking truth to power comes at a price, especially when you're dealing with someone like Trump, who's known for attacking his critics on social media.
One witness even talked about getting death threats and having to go into hiding.
Oh, wow.
And these weren't just empty threats either. The report shows how Trump's words actually led to real-world violence and harassment.
That's terrifying. It makes the courage of those who testified even more remarkable.
Definitely, they were putting their own safety at risk to uphold the law.
Absolutely. The report also reveals some of the internal struggles within the Department of Justice.
Oh, right. Conducting an investigation this big during an election year must have been really tricky.
Exactly. There are these specific guidelines to prevent investigations from influencing elections or appearing politically motivated.
So Smith's team had to be extra careful.
They did. They had to pursue the investigation while also making sure they were following all the rules.
They couldn't afford to make any mistakes.
Nope. Any misstep could have been seen as an attempt to interfere with the election.
So despite all those constraints, what were some of the most significant findings?
Well, one of the most damning things is the extent to which Trump knew he'd lost.
Really? Even though he kept saying there was fraud?
Yeah, the report shows he was getting information from multiple sources debunking those claims.
So he was knowingly spreading a lie.
It seems that way. The evidence suggests he knew the truth, but chose to put his own ambition above the integrity of the election.
That's pretty disturbing.
It is. The report even details conversations between Trump and his advisors where they explicitly told him that the fraud claims were baseless.
And yet he still doubled down on it.
He did. He kept pushing that false narrative to his supporters and the public.
It really makes you question his judgment, his motives, his understanding of the oath he took as president.
Absolutely. The report also exposes how the fake elector scheme worked.
Right, that plan to bypass the legitimate electoral process.
Yeah, it shows how Trump and his allies came up with this idea to recruit people to pose as electors in states that Biden won.
So they were basically trying to steal the election.
And this wasn't some last-minute thing either. The report shows that this scheme was in the works well before January 6th.
Wow, so it was premeditated.
It seems so they were setting the stage for this power grab long before the Capitol riot even happened.
That's a really scary thought. It shows how vulnerable our democracy can be.
It does. But even though the case against Trump was dismissed because he was reelected, this report still has an impact.
Right, it's not just some forgotten document.
How do you think it will affect public perception and the future of holding presidents accountable?
It's hard to say for sure, but I think the report has definitely shaped public opinion.
In what way?
Well, I don't think anyone can read this detailed account and not be concerned about what Trump did and what it means for the future of American democracy.
It's definitely a warning about the dangers of misinformation, the importance of a free press, and the need to protect our democratic processes.
Absolutely. We've covered a lot, but there's still so much to unpack.
We've gone through this crazy political and legal maze.
We have.
And uncovered so many shocking things.
Yeah, it's been wild.
But after all this, what do you think is the most important takeaway from this report?
That's tough. There's a lot.
Right.
But honestly, the thing that really gets me is just how much Trump tried to overturn the election. It wasn't just like a couple of isolated incidents. It was a huge campaign with so many people involved across multiple states.
The report really lays it all out.
It does.
All that pressure on state officials, the attempts to mess with voting machines, all the disinformation being spread.
It's scary how vulnerable our system can be.
It is. And while the legal fight might be over for now, this report reminds us that accountability matters.
Yeah, even if Trump wasn't prosecuted because he got reelected, the evidence is all right there.
It's hard to ignore.
Right.
And Smith's team, they faced so much pressure and so many obstacles, but they kept going.
They did.
They were determined to find the truth.
And you can see that in the report.
Absolutely. It's so detailed and focused on the facts.
Smith's closing statement is really powerful, too.
What did he say?
He said his team stood up for the rule of law.
Even though they couldn't take the case to trial.
Yeah.
That's really something.
It shows how much they believe in our democracy.
This report is more than just a legal document.
It is.
It's a historical record, a warning, a call to action.
It shows us we can't just assume our democracy is safe.
Right.
We have to protect it and hold our leaders accountable.
And it shows the power of truth.
Yeah, even if justice wasn't fully served in this case, the truth is out there.
And that's a victory in itself.
This deep dive has taken us through a pretty dark part of American history.
It has.
But it also gives me hope.
Hope.
Yeah, the fact that this investigation happened, that the truth came out, that we're all talking about it.
Right.
It makes me think that our democracy is still strong, even if it's been hurt.
It shows that we, the people, have to stay informed, hold our leaders accountable, and participate in shaping our country's future.
We can't just sit back and watch.
This deep dive has given you the key takeaways from Jack Smith's report.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
But there's always more to learn.
Definitely.
We encourage you to read the full report.
It's worth it.
Think about what it all means and come to your own conclusions. And if you're looking for more bite-sized knowledge and insights on different topics, subscribe to Mindful Moments.
Yeah, we'll help you nourish your mind on the go.
And don't forget to subscribe to the deep dive and share this episode with anyone who you think might be interested.
Spread the knowledge.
Knowledge is meant to be shared, especially knowledge as important as this.
Definitely.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.